Morning, yogis. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be doing a trikonasana or triangle class today. So working into the length in our hamstrings, a little bit of flexibility in our inner thighs and our lower backs. And we'll do a number of stretches and strengtheners to get us to a really, hopefully nice and open feeling triangle. You will want a prop for today's class. If you happen to have a yoga block or brick, great, go ahead and grab that. If not, you can use like a water bottle, like a hydro flask. One of those thick metal ones works really great. A milk jug, a couple of books. You want something that you can have be about 8 or 10 inches tall, or if you are on the more flexible side, you can go over 3 or 4 inches tall. But you want something that you can place your hand on as we practice a couple different variations of triangle. If you like to practice with 2 blocks, please grab 2, but you only need 1 prop. And then of course, if you like a cushion for your knees, you can grab a blanket. You can set those when you're ready. Over to the side, and we're actually going to start off in a forward fold today. So when you're ready, come up to the front of your mat, spread your toes nice and wide, and start to fold forward. Stick your buns out behind you. You can start by resting your forearms on your thighs. And especially if this is the first bit of stretching you've done today, that might feel just right. Just starting to lengthen your spine a little bit. Maybe you go down a little further and you rest your hands on the floor or on your prop. Maybe you go all the way down to the mat. Even if you're quite flexible, keep your knees soft here so that this is really about your spine. You can feel your low back starting to grow some space. You can nod and shake your head. And just hanging here. We're literally hanging out, and kind of get into that idea of hanging out. You're just relaxing, you're melting. Feel free to move a little bit. Again, continue to keep the knees soft for this first forward fold, getting into the back. Take one more breath here. Inhale, you're going to pick up a little bit of a halfway lift. You can slide your fingertips in or to the shins or to the thighs or onto your block. Reach the crown of your head forward. And then as you exhale, fold, plant your hands down and step back. Right foot, and then dropping the right knee to the floor, and then left knee next to the right knee. Slide your hands right underneath your shoulders. Oops, escape hair here. And as you bring your hands under your shoulders, spread your fingers nice and wide and press into the base of each of your fingertips. So you're almost lifting up the palm of your hand a little bit as you place your hand on the floor. The center of your palm should have a little bit of space between itself and the mat. And then as you set that up, you can have your toes tucked or the tops of your feet flat, whatever feels more comfortable, but keep your hands really active as you inhale, soften the center of your chest, lift your gaze and your tail, cow pose. As you exhale, lift your belly up, tuck your tail and your gaze, cat pose. Inhale, cow, and exhale, cat. 3 or 4 more of these at your own pace, just warming up the spine. Maybe 1 more set. And then at the end of this set, you're going to come back to your neutral spine. Tuck your right set of toes under, reach your right foot to the back of the mat, and just rock a little bit forward and back, massaging the arch of the foot, the toes, the Achilles tendon, the calf. And the next time that your shoulders come over your wrists, you're back in that kind of table shape. Extend your left arm as you breathe in. As you breathe out, twist to your left, bringing your left arm up into the sky. Squeeze your inner thighs together here. Keep pushing back through your right heel. As you exhale, you're going to circle that left hand your shoulder. Lift your right leg behind you. Drop your right hip and then fold from your right knee as if you're trying to press the sole of your right foot onto the ceiling above you. This is your inhale. As you exhale, now bring that bent knee in towards your chest. You can point your toes if you want. Inhale, flex your foot. Bring that leg behind you. Exhale, knee to nose, you can point. Just a couple more like that. You might start to feel as you kick that foot back behind you, your hamstrings and your buttocks beginning to activate. Last one. And then set that right knee down. Tuck the left toes under, reach the left foot behind you. Rock a few times forward and backward. A nice toe crack on that one. You're going to rock yourself forward. Lift that left leg. Oh, I skipped one thing. Leave your left foot down. Reach your right arm out as you inhale. Take that twist, reaching the right arm up. Shrug your shoulders back. This is the best part. I can't believe I forgot this. This feels so nice, starting to twist into your spine. Take another deep breath. And then circle that right hand down and back underneath the shoulder. Now go ahead and lift your left leg up. Turn the sole of the left foot up towards the sky so your thigh is roughly parallel to the floor, and then your foot is likewise parallel to the ceiling of the floor. This is your inhale. Exhale, tuck that knee in towards the nose. Feel free to point the foot out. Inhale, kick behind. Exhale, knee to nose. And again, you just want to feel some activation there at the back of your thigh. And of course, a nice little bit of core work as you draw that knee in towards you, lifting the belly button. Last one. And then place that left knee down. Tuck both sets of toes under. Rock your weight back. If your wrists aren't quite ready for downward facing dog, you might rock a few times forward and back, or press into the backs of your hands for a moment before you come up. If you're perfectly ready, you can already be coming to downward facing dog. And we'll all meet there. And just like in our forward fold, as you come into this downward facing dog, soften your knees a lot so you lengthen your spine first. So your belly and your thighs are really close together, your hips are lifting up and back, and you feel a nice stretch in your shoulders. As you inhale, lift yourself up onto your tippy toes. You kind of rock a little bit forward, keep your knees bent, and then as you exhale, push your heels towards the floor. You can straighten your legs a little bit if you want. Inhale, lift up onto your tippy toes, bend your knees. Exhale, lower your heels and straighten. Repeat that one more time. And then slowly walking, stepping, or hopping, come up to the front of the mat. We're going to dangle here for a few more breaths, so set yourself up, adjust the angle and the distance between your feet. Start with nice soft knees. Feel free, especially for this one, to use a prop underneath your hands. And start by letting your spine get long, maybe wiggle into it a little bit. And then we'll start to move into the legs here. As you inhale, straighten your legs. Find a halfway lift where you can get your legs pretty straight. So if the block isn't high enough, you can flip it up, or you can bring your hands onto your thighs or your shins. And then as you exhale, rebend your knees, fold back, forward, fingertips to the floor or the block. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. A couple more like that. One more. Keep your knees nice and soft. Press into the heels of your feet, and now on an inhale, slow roll one vertebrae at a time, coming up towards the sky. When you reach standing, you roll your shoulders back, let your palms face forward. Take a nice deep breath here. Next, inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. Grab your left wrist with your right hand and lean to your right, stretching out the right side, the left side. You're leaning to the right, you're stretching the left. Inhale to the center. Grab the the right wrist with the left hand and lean down to the left, stretching the right side. Inhale back to center. You can leave your arms up overhead. You're going to cross your left foot behind your right foot. And then again, grab the left wrist, lean a little bit to the right. Inhale back to center. Uncross the feet. Grab the right wrist with the left hand. Cross the right foot behind the left foot and lean to the left. Inhale back to the center line. Uncross the feet. Release the hands and fold all the way forward. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, put your hands down. Step your right foot or your right knee back. Step your left foot or your left knee back. You can come to table or to downward facing dog. As you inhale, come forward to plank, shoulders over the wrists. Knees could be up, or especially for this first one, down on the floor. Tuck your elbows in, lower slowly to the mat, untuck your toes. Lay your belly down, lift your chest. Cobra. Exhale to release, press back. Table or downward facing dog. You're going to take about 3 or 4 deep breaths here. Feel free to pedal your feet. Just circle your hips, to tuck your toes under and rock forward and back if you're in table as we did earlier. Or to repeat the lift onto your tippy toes with bending knees and then lower of the heels with straight legs. Any movement here that feels pleasantly stretchy for your legs and your hips. We'll all meet back in table or downward facing dog. And from there, you're going to float your right foot to the sky as you breathe in and step your right foot to the front of the mat as you breathe out. Bring your left knee down to the floor. Feel free to grab your blanket as a cushion and or your block as a prop as you walk your hands up onto your thigh. Draw your shoulders away from your wrists. Lift the center of your chest. You're pressing your hands a little bit firmly into your thigh to lift your belly away from it. So you're getting nice and tall here. And just relax your shoulders back. If you like a little more, you can lean forward into your front knee. And we're going to start to get into a little bit of a deeper hamstring stretch. This is your inhale here. As you exhale, fold forward. You can use your block or you can put your fingertips onto the floor. Straighten your right leg as you pull your hips back. Left knee is underneath the left hip. If you don't feel a stretch here, you can always be using your block inside or outside. You can always walk your right foot further forward or flip your right toes up. A little less intense is to come in and or higher. A little more intense is to come forward and or lower over that front leg. Feel the back of your right thigh starting to open up. Be aware if you are tensing in other areas of your body. A big one here would be your shoulders. Another one would be your belly. Your right foot forward, you're going to slide it back in, plant your hands down, tuck your back toe under, lift your back knee, and step up. Inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale to fold. As you inhale, roll yourself up to the sky. One smooth breath this time. As you exhale, bring your hands in front of your heart. As you inhale, bring your arms up. As you exhale, fold. Hands can come through the heart or out to the sides if that's more comfortable for your body. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands down, left foot or left knee steps back. Right foot or right knee steps back, table or downward facing dog. Through your vinyasa, inhale to your version of plank. Knees up or down. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, find your cobra pose. If you want, you can go a little bit deeper if your spine is ready. Exhale to release. Come back for 3 or 4 breaths in table or downward facing dog. Wherever you are, you're just finding a place that's pleasant for your legs and your hips. Kind of maybe a nicely, a little bit stretchy. Nothing too crazy, but you are working a little bit. When we're ready, you're going to inhale your left foot to the sky and step your left foot to the front of the mat. Bring your right knee to the floor. Feel free to use your block to bring your hands up onto your thigh and just stretching a little bit the front of the body, maybe leaning forward into that front knee. If you need a deeper stretch, you press the floor away with your hands on your thigh and you lift up. Relax your shoulders. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale here. As you exhale, you come forward. We start to work into that hamstring. Again, feel free to use a block as you straighten your left leg. And you pull your hips back. Feel free to wiggle again that left foot forward if you need to. Finding sensation at the back of your left leg. And really try to relax a little bit into this. Try to use this quiet space here at the beginning of our class to let your muscles lengthen gently. As you're ready, slowly inhale, bringing the hips a little forward. If you need to walk that left foot back, please do. Plant your hands, tuck your back toe, lift your back knee, and step up. Inhale, find halfway lift. Maybe your legs are a little straighter now than they have been. Exhale to fall. As you inhale, roll yourself all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, bring your hands in front of your heart. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale to fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands, right foot or right knee steps back. Left foot or left knee steps back, table or dog. Inhale to plank. If you feel ready, you could be doing a chaturanga, exhaling, big full push-up, and then untucking your toes, rolling to upward facing dog. Or you can stay with cobra, what feels right for your body today. Exhale, we'll all meet back in table or downward facing dog. Take just one deep breath here now. And then inhale, float your right foot to the sky. Step your right foot now behind your right hand at the front of the mat. Rotate on the ball of your left foot and set your left heel on the floor at about a 45-degree angle. Press into your right heel and lift yourself up for warrior one, squaring your hips to the front of the mat. You can always adjust the angle of your back foot. 45 degrees is just kind of a medium spot, an average spot. Front knee is over front ankle. And again, think of that action, you can even do that action of pressing your hands into your thigh and lift your belly away from your thigh so there's as much space between your belly button and the midpoint of your thigh as possible in this position. Let your tailbone sink towards the earth. Take another deep breath here. As you exhale, straighten your right leg, bring your hands to your heart, and start to fold at the crease of your hips. It's the same type of motion we were doing on the floor. You're taking your right hip back and you're leaning forward. And as you come forward, you might find that you have to bend your right knee a little bit here. You may have also needed to do so on the floor. You can rest your hands on your thigh. You can rest your hands on your shin, or you can use your block. If you like to use two blocks, you can frame the front foot if you happen to have two blocks around. And again, you want to feel the back of your right leg stretching out in this pyramid pose. Feel free as needed to go lower or lift the right toes up. That can help get a little deeper into the back of that right thigh. And again, see if you could relax the rest of your body here. You're not tensing up unnecessarily in the fingertips, around your belly button, in your jaw. Deep breath. And then start to look a little forward. Bend your right knee. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders. If you need to kind of walk your right foot a little out or in or back to get there, do so. Turn your left foot to face straight forward. You're going to go back to three-legged table or three-legged dog, taking that right foot all the way up into the sky. Bend your right knee, stack your right hip on top of your left, scorpion pose. You would be doing this in downward facing dog, or with the knee on the floor and table. You want to feel some openness at the front of your right hip. Inhale, square your hips. And as you exhale, you're going to step that right foot all the way back to the front of the mat. Tuck your back toes under if they're not already there, and step your left foot up next to your right foot. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to roll to the sky. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, half lift. As you exhale, plant your hands down, left foot or left knee back. Right foot or right knee back. Table or dog. Option to start skipping your vinyasa if you're feeling a little more quiet today. Or you can take another one, inhaling forward to plank. Knees up or down, exhaling to the floor. Cobra or upward facing dog, or any back bend of choice. Exhale, table or downward facing dog. Just one deep breath here. Inhale the left foot to the sky. Exhale the left foot behind the left hand. Spin the right heel down to the floor, 45-degree angle. And then press into your left heel and lift yourself up. Arms overhead, hips square. Belly is lifting away from the thigh. So that means you're getting tall. Your tailbone is automatically softening towards the earth. And you don't have to tuck it. It's not like you're pushing your pelvis forward. You're just relaxing it towards the floor, and you're lifting up your belly button. Like there's a little elevator lifting your belly button up to your sternum. Relax your shoulders. And take another deep breath. Inhale here. As you exhale, begin to straighten that left leg. Remember, it doesn't have to go all the way straight. Hands to the heart, and you fold towards your pyramid. And you can go as far forward as you need to go. You might be perfectly stretchy right here, holding your hands on your thigh or on your calf. Maybe you need to go to. Maybe you need to go a little lower to a block. Maybe you need, okay, I feel pretty flexible in my hamstrings right now. Maybe I even need to bring my fingertips towards the floor, or turn my left toes a little up towards the ceiling. Keep drawing your left thigh bone into the hip socket. So it's like you're tucking your left femur up and in, as if you are drawing it in. It's almost like you're getting lighter on your left foot as you do this, because you're actively drawing that hip backwards. Even though we're not moving quickly at all here, it's quite intensive. It's quite deep in this pose. But let that work really be in the legs and the hips, and let the rest of your body again relax a little bit. Focused work. All right, take another nice deep breath in your pyramid. And then you're going to soften that front knee. Plant your hands down. If you need to move your foot out of the way to get underneath the shoulders, please do. Back foot turns straight forward and back, and go to your three-legged table or your three-legged dog. Left leg to the sky. Bend the left knee, stack the left hip on top of the right. Scorpion pose. Inhale, square your hips. And as you exhale, you step that left foot back up to the front of the mat. Soften the back knee, look forward, and step the right foot up next to the left foot. Find your forward fold as you exhale. And as you inhale, roll yourself all the way up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands in front of your heart. Inhale, bring your arms overhead. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands, step your right foot or your right knee back. Step your left foot or your left knee back. You can hang out here in table or downward facing dog, or even child's pose. Or you can do your half vinyasa, inhaling forward to plank, because usually if you're frisky, you can always add a couple push-ups here if you want to, before taking your cobra, your upward dog, or any other back bend. We'll all meet back in table or downward facing dog. Here you're going to float your right foot to the sky as you inhale, and step your right foot to the front of the mat as you exhale. Walk your hands to the inside of that right foot. Turn your left foot to face the long edge of the mat and start to walk to the long edge of the mat. Feel free to grab a prop or two and bring them with you, turning your right foot to face the long edge of the mat, wide-legged forward fold. Hands could be on a support or all the way down to the floor as you fold forward, finding a little stretch. Again, the back of the thighs with maybe now some work in the inner thighs as well. Feel like a little work into your shoulders. You can always take your hands around behind your back, interlacing your fingers, lifting the arms to the sky. The hands don't like to lace up. You can always hold a wrist like we're doing in our side bends, or take the hands into the elbow creases. Take another deep breath here. And then releasing your arms. Press your fingertips to the floor, push up halfway. And then you're going to heel toe your feet in towards one another. So they're a little wider than the distance of your own hips. Toes out, heels in. Again, feel free to use a block here. And then drop your hips back towards the floor, coming towards a squat. And you can come towards a horse squat with your hands on your thighs. Or you can come towards a spider squat with your hands closer to or on the floor. Or you can come towards a malasana squat. I always feel like I want my feet slightly closer for malasana than I do for horse or spider, where you drop your hips back and you bring your hands maybe in front of your heart. Feel your hips and your thighs and take a few breaths here. It's not important which variation you're in if you feel those lower parts of your body. You're ready. You're going to go out the same way you came in, maybe putting your hands on the floor, on a block. Lift your butt up. Heel toe your feet back wide, back to your wide-legged forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. As you exhale, soften a little bit through your knees. Inhale, you're going to come all the way up. You can walk your hands on your thighs. You could bring your hands onto your hips, coming up to standing. Turn your right foot to face towards the front of the room. Now, we're going to go into triangle, and I recommend using your block for this. So just taking a moment to grab your block, set it on the outside of your right ankle here. And you don't have to use it, but it's nice to have it there so that you have the ability to use it. Open your arms out, both of your legs are straight for this first part, reaching fingertips to opposite sides of the room. Bump your hips a little back as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, you start to reach forward and then fold down. You can rest your hand on your thigh, or your calf, or maybe on your block. Reach your right arm up overhead. And if you don't feel quite stretchy yet in the back of your right leg, or maybe around the area of your left hip, you can always take your block lower. Inhale, keep reaching the crown of your head forward. As you exhale, soften. Remember that your knee does not have to be straight. It might be quite bent. As long as you're sucking that thigh bone into the hip sockets, you're actively drawing this right leg back up and into its joint, basically. It doesn't matter if the leg is straight or not. Lots of activity within this stillness here. Take another deep, full breath. And then you're going to press down into your right hand. Lift up. Turn your right toes to face the long edge of the mat. Turn your left toes to face the back edge of the mat. And here you can grab your block, and you can place your block now behind your left ankle. Open your arms out to the side. Same thing over here. Bump your hips a little back. Reach forward as you exhale, and then fold. And it might feel perfectly stretchy to bring your hand onto your thigh or your calf, or maybe you go to that block. I'm quite partial to the block here, even if you have to move your block lower to get a stretch, because it gives you something really firm to put your hand on. Unless you're super flexible, it's hard to put the palm of your hand on the floor. The block is really nice. Again, your knee might be quite bent, but you're drawing the thigh bone up and actively inwards as you come into this triangle pose. Don't worry about where you're looking. You can be looking up or towards the me, or towards the floor. You could also be looking away from me if you're facing the other direction right now. And take a few deep breaths. Enjoy the intensity of work here. It's work that you have to think about, because you have to keep remembering to tuck that thigh bone in, to lift up a little bit, maybe through the arch of your foot, to keep breathing. When you're ready, you're going to press down into this left hand and press a little bit into your left heel and lift up. Turn both sets of toes to face towards the long edge of the mat, and again, fold forward. You can grab your block and place it underneath your hands. If you are quite close to the floor and you'd like to, you can always put your block down and rest the crown of your head onto the block, so the very tippy top of your head. And the tippy top of my head is quite happy on the low setting, but don't worry if your crown of your head is much happier on the high setting, or if the crown of your head is quite far away from the block. That's totally fine as well. It's just an option. All right, when you're ready, you're going to press your fingertips down. You're going to lift up that halfway lift, and you're going to walk back to the front of the room. Right foot turns to face it. Left foot turns to face it. Plant your hands down and step your right foot back, downward dog, or you can lower your knees to the floor. Table pose. Just enjoy a few deep breaths here. You can move in your table or your dog, or you can rest for a few breaths in child's pose. And then here, you could step or walk, or you could hop your feet to the front of the mat if you feel quite frisky today. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, roll yourself all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands down. Left foot or left knee steps back. Right foot or right knee steps back. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, your choice of how to get to the floor. Inhale, you could lie all the way down and take cobra or sphinx, or you could lift up halfway there, upward facing dog. Exhale to release and wall meet in table or downward facing dog. On your next inhale, you're going to float your left foot to the sky, and you step your left foot to the front of the mat. Walk your hands to the inside of that left foot again, walk to the long edge of your mat. Lift up halfway as you inhale. Now as you exhale, bend your left knee. You can turn your left toes a little bit out if that feels more comfortable. And keep your right leg straight as you walk your hands a little bit back towards that left foot, or forward towards that left foot really. But you're straightening your right leg as you bend your left leg. And you can angle your toes on both feet if you need to. They might both face forward, or one might face forward and one might face back. And this is a little variation on Skandasana. You can fold forward and bow. It's kind of like a hybrid actually between a Skandasana and a humble warrior. Maybe if you drop your head down and look back behind you. Stretch for the inner right thigh. Work for the outer left hip and left hamstring. As you inhale, you're going to come back to the center line, and now you're going to bend your right knee, maybe angling your foot for comfort in your own knee, straightening your left leg, and experiment. There's no right or wrong way to angle the feet here. It's what feels good to your knees, and it will all depend on exactly how your thigh bone fits into your hip socket. Feel free to stay up with a block. Feel free to go low. Feel the inner left thigh. Feel the outer right hip, the right hamstrings. Alright, when you're ready, you're going to come back to the center line. Turning both sets of toes more or less to face the long edge of the mat. Keep your knees soft as you exhale. And then as you inhale, make your way all the way up to standing. Roll your shoulders back. Now, turn your toes out and your heels in and bend your knees coming into a goddess style squat. And feel free to adjust. There's no, again, wrong way or right way for the feet to angle. You just want the knees to be over the ankles and the knees to be tracking in the center of the foot. So your knees are not really inside your big toe or really outside your little toe. There's equal weight in all 10 of your toes, and your knees feel comfortable and happy. Reach your arms out to the side as you inhale. As you exhale, you're gonna go to your left arm to left thigh, right arm overhead. As you inhale, come back to the center line. As you exhale, go to the right arm to the thigh, left arm overhead. Inhale to the center. You can go a little deeper if you want. You can reach that left hand down towards the calf. And inhale to the center. You could stay on the thigh or you could go a little deeper. And inhale to the center. And we're just gonna move side to side. Opening up even a little more our rib cages and the sides of our torsos. Maybe one more to each side. Inhale back to the center line. Sit a little deeper as you exhale. As you inhale, straighten your legs. Turn both sets of toes to start off with to the long edge of the mat, just to give you a nice clean slate to start with. Grab your block. Put your block behind your left foot as you turn your left foot to face towards the short edge of the mat. We're coming back into our triangle. Reach your arms out as you inhale. Push your hips back as you exhale. Reach forward and then fold. Hand to thigh, calf. Again to block. Reach the right arm up over your head. Now, just like we did side to side in our squat, we're gonna make this a little bit dynamic. So it's not about how deep into the pose you go, it's how easily can you go between point A and point B. Press down into your left heel, inhale, lift up. Exhale, go back towards your triangle, take your hips back. See if you can keep some length along the side of your body as you fold forward, maybe you tap your leg or your block. Inhale, come back up. Exhale to tap. As you're doing this, you continue to take that left thigh bone into the left hip socket. One more tap. Come all the way up as you inhale. As you exhale, bend your left knee, flip your left palm up and fold back, reverse your warrior. Inhale, come to the center line. As you exhale, straighten that left leg. Turn the left toes to the long edge of the mat. We're going back to the right side. So the block comes behind the right ankle. And you turn the right foot to face the short edge of the mat. Arms come out. Bump your hips back. Fold to your variation of triangle. Remember, it's totally unimportant whether your knee is soft or your knee is straight. Please don't focus on straightening your knee, especially as we move up and down. You want to be able to move smoothly rather than herkily-jerkily because you're arbitrarily trying to straighten your leg. Press down into that right heel, and as you inhale, lift up. Tuck that thigh bone into the hip socket as you do that. Push the hips back, lengthen the right side as you fold. Inhale, draw the thigh bone up and in. Exhale, hips go back, side body lengthens. We'll just do a few more like this. Dynamic little triangle flowing. Again, it's not how deep you go. Who cares if you touch the floor or if you just touch the thigh? Is it smooth? Last one. And then inhale, come back up. Exhale, bend the right knee, flip the right palm up and fold back, reverse your warrior. Inhale to the center. As you exhale, straighten your right toes, turn your right foot to the long edge of the mat, and fold all the way forward. Feel free to use your block in any way that suits you. Take a few deep breaths. We have one more triangle to do here. Lift up halfway as you inhale. As you exhale, you're going to bend your right knee, leaving your left leg straight. So same thing we did earlier. Feel free to angle the feet in your Skandasana. If you'd like to go into the folk dancer variation of Skandasana, dropping your hips back, lifting your torso up, feel free. This is a great place to have a handy block. But if you feel stable, you can bring your hands in front of the heart here. Extra deep stretch for that inner left thigh. As you inhale, you're going to come back to the midline. You can put your hands down, but if you get really strong, you can try pressing down into that right foot and lifting up to the midline. And then left knee bends, right leg straightens, and you can stay up. Or you can drop down a little bit. If you drop down, your toes will most likely have to flip up to face the ceiling. I've seen very few people, and most of them are hyper flexible, whose foot can be on the floor here. It doesn't feel great in the knees. And you may notice that one of my heels is on the floor, but the other side, my heel is lifted. I couldn't get it to the floor. It doesn't matter. Whichever variation works for you. If you feel stable, you can bring hands to heart. Take a few deep breaths. Toes are facing more or less to the long edge of the mat. Exhale, soften. As you inhale, roll yourself gently up to the sky. And then as you exhale, turn your right foot to face the short edge of the mat. We'll start on the opposite side this time. Right block to right heel. Block behind that right heel there. Reach your arms out. This is our last variation. So here, really focus on lengthening the sides of your torso. So first lift up as if you were trying to separate the bottom of your rib from the top of your hip. You're creating as much space here in the side of your body as you can. You're super tall, and then you take your hips back. You start to feel your inner right thigh. You start to reach your right fingertips forward so you feel the length on the right side of the body, and then you fold so gracefully into triangle. And if it didn't happen so gracefully and you feel real crunchy and you're like, oh, this is not great, come back. Start again. Find space. We're going to spend another 5 or 6 breaths here so you have lots of time to play around. And adjust the angle of your back foot if you want, so it faces a little more towards the right side of the mat. Sometimes that gives so much more space in the hips. Show your shoulders back. Reach the crown of your head as if you're trying to reach the crown of your head beyond your toes up there. All right, take another deep breath. And then press into that right thigh, lift up. Right toes face the long edge of the mat, left toes face the short edge of the mat. You can grab your block. I don't know why I went that way, that was much more difficult than it needed to be. Place your block behind your left heel. Reach your arms out again, grow tall. Tuck that thigh bone up into the hip socket. And then push your hips back. Reach your left fingertips forward, lengthen the sides of your torso, and then fold. And again, feel free to have as many do-overs as you need. If it doesn't feel spacious and delightful, start again. Adjust a little bit. Try adjusting the angle of your back foot. Try adjusting the amount of bend in your knee or how far back you take your hips. Try adjusting what height you place your hand down at. Maybe you need to go lower, but maybe you need to go higher to feel spacious. Holding for a few breaths as you find that perfect triangle for you today. Down into that left foot, lift up, inhale. As you exhale, toes face the long edge of the mat, and you fold all the way forward. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, heel toe those feet in. Toes out, heels in, a little wider than your hips. You could do horse. Or you could do spider. Or you could come all the way down to Malasana. English name for this one is garland. Like a little garland here. Everything is joined up as if you were a necklace. When you're ready, bring yourself to seated. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Give them a little wiggle. Give them a little shake because your legs probably feel nice and kind of soft and gooey. Now we're going to do a little shoelace pose to maximize on all of that space that we created. Feel free to sit up onto a blanket or roll your mat up and sit up a little higher if sitting flat like this makes your low back or your hamstrings feel less than happy. Start by drawing the sole of your right foot in. And then cross your right foot to the outside of your left knee. Now, if you feel a lot of action in your hips, you might stay here and simply hug this right knee in towards you. That might be plenty. If you have more space in your hips, you can grab onto your right foot and start to draw it out to the left, lying your right knee down on top of your left knee. And you just go as far in that direction as you can. You can notice you might need to wiggle around to get your butt situated. You are more than welcome to use your block. You can use it under here. Having a bend in the knee. This is a really hard block. It's not the best. If you have a really hard block, you can use a blanket, or if you're using a water bottle, not going to feel great. But you can always soften that bottom knee. And then from here, you might find that where you are is quite intense. You might lean a little bit back and lift the center of your chest. Or you might find, oh yeah, this feels nice. I want more of that sensation at the back of my hips. I might fold forward. This is shoelace pose. And if you come forward and you don't feel anything, it's like, nah, it's not fine. Maybe you go a little further and you fold your bottom foot in and you go towards Gomukhasana. And you want both of your feet here to be out to the sides and your knees drop down. My body is still not super happy with this one today. So my knees aren't all the way to the floor, so I might place a prop underneath that bottom knee or between my knees. If it's really intense, you might lean back. If it feels really good, you might lean forward. Trying to keep both of your buttocks on the floor. And it's okay if your knees are not perfectly stacking, they're just moving in that direction towards stacking. Breathe into it. It's like you're unlocking your outer hips here. All that tension and tightness that's stored in the muscles, in the tissues there. You're setting it free. So it's like the key to unlocking. Found it, you've applied it. And you can let that tension out. Send it on its way. I'm imagining my tension is like little green gnomish monsters that have been, mining inside of my hips, pinging off all of my nerves, and I'm just like shooing them away. Out you go. Go work somewhere else. When you're ready, you're gonna walk yourself back in. And you can use your hands to help you kind of unwind your legs. And you can stretch them out in front of you, and you can wiggle. You can shake. That's nice. And then we'll go to the other side. Left knee draws in, and then left foot comes to the outside of the right knee. And again, if your hips are really tight, this could be plenty. Just hugging that knee in. You can feel the IT band, you can feel the glutes, you can feel all of those muscles. You can feel piriformis perhaps. If you need more, you draw that right foot a little out to the side. And you work towards stacking the knees. And remember, any amount of propping here is totally acceptable. It's not like it is going to just fall into place if you wrench your knee over to the side. In fact, the opposite is true. Then your body just is never going to want to come back to this position. You want to ease your way into this place. If you need more, you fold forward. If you need less, you lean back. Folding forward with a straight leg is not enough for your hips. Fold your bottom foot in. And again, you might prop things up. You might help yourself out. You might just stay leaning back. You were happy folding forward in the previous variation, but now it's a little too much. Maybe you make your way forward, maybe not. You can even use your prop in front of you if you want to fold forward, but the floor is a little bit far away. As you're ready, unwind yourself. Give your legs a little wiggle. Give your legs a little shake. And we'll come to lie ourselves all the way down on the floor. Bring your block with you and just set it next to your hips as you lie yourself all the way down. to come into a supported bridge pose as our back bend today. So drawing the soles of the feet in with the knees pointing out to the sky. Press the heels down, lift the hips, and take the block underneath your tailbone. If you've been using like a water bottle or something else, you can take a little cushion or a folded up blanket underneath your tailbone instead. Anything that just gives you a little bit of height here. If you don't have a prop at all, you can just take a full bridge, hips lifted for maybe 5 or 6 breaths and then lower down. We'll stay a little longer in the supported variation if it feels comfortable. Feel free to take your arms up over your head. Relax your shoulders. See if you can relax your belly button and the center of your chest. And you're welcome to stay in supported bridge. Or you could add a variation. You come to psoas, release one or both legs down to the end of the mat. If you like, you could take the feet up into the sky. And this is a nice one if you don't happen to have a prop, because you can still extend your legs up into the sky. Now take a moment to roll out your ankles. Flex and point your toes. The legs worked quite a lot today in this class, so it's nice to give them a little break. Also great if it's a little on the warm side to lift up your feet and reverse some blood flow, reverse some lymph flow. Stay here for another breath or two. As you are ready, you can release the soles of the feet to the floor if you move them. Lift your hips inside your prop. You're using it out to the sides. As you lower the hips down, take the feet a little wider than the distance of your own hips. And let your knees knock over to the right. And this wide leg variation of the twist might feel lovely. You can stay right here. If you like to go a little deeper, you can take your right ankle on top of the outer left thigh. Just be mindful there that you want the knees to feel good. If it doesn't feel good in your knees, don't do the stacking of the ankle on top of the knee. You can also come into any other variation of the twist, stacking the knees, or bending one knee and straightening the other leg. When you're ready, you're gonna wing your knees. Bring your knees back to the center, like a wing. Sweep them over to the other side. And again, you can stay right here. You could stack, separate, or you could take the left ankle over the right knee. release in your hips and back. As you're ready, you can bring your knees back to the center line. If there's anything else you need to do before Shavasana, please don't hesitate. It could be as simple as swaying the knees a bit more or drawing them into the chest. Could be a whole other pose that you've been craving. Finding your way towards a comfortable resting space for your body. Place where you can slow down your breath. Relax any last little bit of tension out of your body. When you are ready to return, take a deep breath in. A nice gentle sigh out. Flailing your fingers and your toes. As you're ready, roll yourself to one side. And bring yourself to your most comfortable seated position. Let your hands come in front of your heart. We'll close here with a deep breath together. In through nose, out through mouth. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice and your time. Have a wonderful rest.